All right, so let me change my screen here for you guys so you can see. All right. Now, this is not a very it's not a very long lesson, but it's a very important lesson. So, it's one that will give you some perspective. Um, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get over all this cough. I'm just about I'm getting so much better, but the more I talk, the more it tries to come out. Okay, so time versus price, key times. There are a number of times throughout the day that are very important. One is daily open, which is at 6 p.m. Eastern every day. That's when the market opens, and it's always a good level to mark because many times you can see where the wick for the daily candle is made when it manipulates at open. Um, it doesn't always happen, but definitely more often than not, you're going to see a manipulation at open, then a reversal kind of go the other way, and you kind of see the wick get made in real time if you're watching like the 5 minute or the 1 minute or something like that. Midnight open is another key level, and the reason for that is because it is a statistical fact that uh, NQ and ES will revisit midnight open at some point during New York session, like 72% of the time. So midnight open is always a good level. Now, if what you'll what is really interesting to me is frequently a midnight open will often align with that that level will often align with like some kind of higher time frame fair value gap or something like that, and then we'll go back and reject right to the tick at midnight open. So that's always a good one to know about. Asia session starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Now that does change when we go to daylight savings time here in like a month. That'll be 9 p.m. Eastern because the rest of the world doesn't really do daylight savings time like we do. So 8 p.m. You can keep it at always 8 p.m. if you want to, but you'll notice the volatility will change pretty substantially during daylight savings time at 9 p.m. London Open is 2 a.m. Eastern, and that also changes during daylight savings time. Will become 3 a.m. Eastern during daylight savings time. And we'll talk some more a little bit about that here in a minute. New York Open or New York AM session is obviously 9:30 to 11, and New York PM session is 1:30 to the rest of the day. So those are times that are important. You want to make sure that you chart these, especially the ones at the pre-market times. You're going to definitely want to chart those. I chart them every day. It takes like 5 minutes maybe to do them for all three indices. It doesn't take very long. It's pretty quick. You'll also want to make sure you chart the previous day's high and low. Those are important times. All right, kill zones. Kill zones are times when you're more likely to see manipulations happen, and then you'll be, or Judas swings as ICT calls them, and they'll give you an opportunity to catch the manipulation leg and get in on get a good entry on a trade. Daily open, like I said, at 6 p.m. Eastern. Asia session is from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. That's the kill zone. What you'll notice is a lot of times once price gets out of these kill zones, it also tends to kind of chop around. So 8 to 10. London session is from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Now, the interesting thing, since I've been charting the London, I chart, like I said, the session highs and lows and blah, all that stuff. The London high or low is so, on the 15-minute chart anyway, is so frequently made at 3 a.m. It is not even funny. And it doesn't matter if it's daylight savings time or not. Something about 3 a.m. with those guys. It's crazy. Frequently, it's at 3 a.m., you'll see the London high and low. Now, that wasn't the case today. I think the London high was made at 7 a.m. and the low was made at 9 o'clock or 7:45 or whatever time it was. So it's not always the case, but it does happen. New York Open is at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Now that's not the stock exchange, and CME in Chicago doesn't open until 9:30. But that New York Open at 8:30 is when a lot of high impact news happens. The Federal Reserve opens at 8:30, so cash starts to flow into the system, liquidity is pumped in, and all that kind of stuff. But always high impact news. If it's going to be high impact news for the day, it's going to be at 8:30. So you want to make sure that you're aware of what the news is. So tomorrow we have NFP. It's at 8:30 Eastern. Sit there, and you don't have to take a trade. Just sit there and watch, and you'll start to see 8:30 is it's an important time. Probably 3 days, at least 3 days every week, because you're going to have unemployment that happens every Thursday. You're going to have either CPI, PPI, PCE, NFP, some stupid government acronym, garbage, whatever, at 8:30. Retail sales like we had today. So it's an important time. New York AM kill zone is 9:30 to 11, and New York PM kill zone is 1:30 to 3. I didn't put that on there, but it's 1:30 to 3. And then you've got power hour that goes on, obviously, from 3 to 4. Now, one question I get a lot are macros. Now, if you believe that ICT wrote an algorithm that runs the entire market dynamics, and that two guys kidnapped him in a van and put him in a cave until he wrote this thing, I'm sorry. I just don't. I think the guy was able to take a lot of disparate concepts and put them together in a cohesive package that makes a lot of sense, which is fantastic, and I like it, and I use it, and I'm all for it. But I don't believe there is a macro that takes place. What I will say is that what you'll find is prior to like 5 to 10 minutes before the end of each hour, that's the hourly candle, right? The hourly candle is closing. Candles frequently have wicks on both ends, so it's not going to generally push up to the highest price if it's going up and just close flat. It does happen, once a week or so maybe, but it's not very common. So what you're going to look for is it's going to be an opportunity for that candle to provide either an opportunity for you to get a continuation trade, or if you're looking for a reversal or something like that, then you're going to use that time for that. But it's not a macro. It's just kind of some nonsense. I will say, though, and I've said this a number of times, yes, there are a number of algorithms that trade and run the market. There's not just one global master algorithm that does it. There are a number of them. So if you read the book Dark Pools, it will give you a lot of visibility to that and how that works and what that looks like and how they came to be and all this. But it's the last 10 minutes before every hour and the first 10 minutes of every hour. That's where you're going to see your manipulation opportunities for the next hourly candle, or the next 4-hour candle, or whatever. And so what you're going to find is that if it's the hourly candle, a lot of times when that next hourly candle opens, it's going to manipulate into a 5-minute, either rebalancing the previous 5-minute candle or going into like a 5-minute fair value gap or 5-minute order block, something like that. And then it's going to continue on its way and go do its thing. But macros are not a real thing. Don't buy into all that shenanigans and hype and waste your time on all that. You can still call it macros if you want, but it's not like the algo is resetting so that for whatever blah blah whatever shenanigans. So don't buy into all that. It's just that simple. So now I was going to show you some things. Let me fix my screen here. Go back to my chart. Okay, so we got MNQ here. What I would tell you is, if you look, what time we're on 1 minute. We just opened a new 5 minute candle a few minutes ago. All right, let's look at the 15. Okay, now if you look at these candles, you'll see that this candle swept a low, came back up into the range, and so you'd say, okay, the next 15-minute candle is probably going to take this high. Well, if it takes that high, it'll probably take this high too, because there's no reason for it to go down. It just took this internal liquidity off this order block. So this candle went up, took that high, went ahead and took the next high. Now it's pulling back down in the range. And on the 1 minute, it says, hey, we're probably going for the lows. So you don't have to try to chase right here. It's kind of pointless. You're just going to end up, you get in right here and then you get a pullback and you're going to be sweating. And nobody wants to do that. So when the next 15-minute candle opens here, 3 minutes if you want, we'll just wait and see where this one closes. If it takes this low, that means we're going to continue down. We're going to look for an opportunity to go lower, probably to this low. If it doesn't come all the way down, then we're going to look for an opportunity for it to wick back up into here. Then we're going to trade that and go to this level and then go to this level. But you can do that with hourly candles. You can do that with 5-minute candles. You can trade individual 5-minute candles if you want to. I mean, it's crazy amount of trades, but you can do it. What you'd want to be careful of is, like, if you look at this one right here, you close up, you would think that, okay, well, we should continue up to this high. Well, this one didn't. So you'd have to have your stop below this candle, and you're occasionally going to get stopped. But if you have the higher time frame bias in mind, and you understand what direction the market wants to go, we were looking for a rejection to the downside because we wanted to see this midweek reversal play out, right? So if we go back to, we had something marked as some kind of order block here, hourly. Okay, so hourly order block right here. Well, we ran into it. We didn't get to the mean threshold, but we don't have a 5-minute change of state delivery either. We got this 5-minute order block right here that we're bouncing off of. So this one looks like it's going to respect the mean threshold, which means it'll probably close back up into the range up here. Excuse me. When that happens, the next candle will be a new 15-minute candle because it'll be 9:30. And so you can watch which way it manipulates if you want and then get in. Maybe take it to this high, or it could manipulate this high and come back down. I find that unlikely. More likely it'll manipulate down this way if it's going to go up. And then continue on. But whenever I was, like last Friday when I was just sitting here and I said I was doing a bunch of scalping, it was just based off the 5-minute and the 15-minute chart. You can do it on the 1 minute, but I mean, that'll stress you out. It's just too much, way too much. Now 1 minute can give you some indication of what's going to happen, but just trying to scalp 1 minute moves and 1 minute candles make it crazy. Not a fan. Don't oversize doing it. Don't say, oh, I'm going to take 3 NQ and I'm going to scalp all these. You'll lose your mind. It'll stress you out and it's too much. So, when you're looking at whether or not to, somebody said something earlier. How do you know when to not pay attention to the things on the left? 1, what is the narrative of price? And 2, did I just bounce off a higher time frame level? In this case, this 5-minute order block, we went up. We did go into this inverse fair value gap off this higher time frame order block, so we might continue down. But whenever you're getting confused as to what to pay attention to, just go up a time frame and it'll tell you. If you look at the 5, you're like, I don't know. We might be turning around here. Okay, well, let's look at the 15. Yeah, I'd say we're probably turning around. I mean, look at that freaking wick. We're probably going to head down now. We manipulated up into the wick. Now we're going to head down. So If that's the case, then I want to see that on the 1 minute. So that's when you look at the lower time frames. After you have an understanding of what the higher time frame is trying to tell you, then you go to the lower time frames. In this case, the 15, we go down to the 1. Sorry, I feel like I threw a ton at you guys tonight. It was a lot, but hopefully it makes sense to you.